Hi, my name is Phyllis Arda, and I am running for the board. I'm excited to be here. I want to share a little information about myself. I've been in Carillon now for a year. We moved in last July. Um, I have been a member of an HOA before. Through my own home ownership, we were HOA members. And additionally, when we've owned some condominiums, I've been familiar with some different types of boards, everything from a self-managed board to a larger organization like Roel. Although I never really served on the board before, I participated whenever needed. A little bit about my work experience. So I just retired from 23 years as an early childhood educator in Schaumburg School District, and during that time, I did supervise a staff of two, and so really being flexible, working with the young students, was always an important part of our job, as well as working with others, working with other teachers, working with other departments and schools within the district. And so I'm very familiar with what it's like to be um, compromising and working with others to get to a common goal. And previous to that, I do hold my CPA certificate. I have 15 years of experience in the banking industry and in public accounting. And so that's something else that I come to the board with. I have served on a board before. Up to the point of my retirement, I was the treasurer of my school board, and our SEA board had 1,300 members. And with the treasury position, I was on the executive board. We met twice a month, and part of my role as the treasurer was to meet with the outside accountants, to prepare financial statements every month, to invest, our monies and report back to the representative assembly. And so I'm very familiar with working on a board. Um, What's interesting me in running for the board is that through my conversations with many different Carillon residents, I find it's very apparent to me that there is a need for better communication and transparency between the board and the HOA and the residents of our community. I wanted to help be a catalyst which would help to improve the sharing of knowledge between our community and the board by providing an open forum to support and represent all concerned parties. A unique contribution that I can bring to the board is just a fresh set of eyes, somebody who's used to being kind of the underdog, and being able to bring ideas to the board and really compromise and sharing a different perspective. That's what I'd like to bring. I'd like to cultivate the idea of one voice, one community. One of the things I think that we need to address first in our community would be to increase the sharing of ideas and participation in HOA activities, advocacy, and getting information out to our homeowners in a timely fashion. Some of the ideas I have so far to improve these ways to implement and share ideas. I like to see that during the board meetings, allowing for at least a 5-minute discussion by any homeowner, either in person or online, to be able to share on a topic. The other thing I would love to see is some debate before voting on any major rules or regulation. And the debate would look like something like a homeowner speaking in for or against a proposal, and also just point of clarification or question. I'd like to see an increase in the number of committees that would allow for committee chairs to represent and share out ideas at the board meeting. And I would love to see a board member night out, maybe where the community can come and mingle with board members, where they can share their concerns, ideas, and thoughts, and have those board member night outs like in between the board meetings, since they're spaced out over the course of a year. The way I'd like to see some participation in our activities increase, maybe increase the type and number of committees. Some suggestions could include a resolutions committee, a pool, maybe a legal committee or a block committee, and really have the community suggest ideas as well. I'd like to add a suggestion box up here in the clubhouse for people to feel free to add their comments, questions, and ideas for clarifications, and some way to for homeowners to suggest or complain or even compliment, but online. And hopefully the resolutions committee would be able to respond to the homeowners' concerns and provide feedback in a timely fashion. I'd like to see some type of online registration for classes and events, which would allow for a variety of methods to make your payment. I think that's really important for a lot of our homeowners who are working and not able to get to the clubhouse during the business hours. One way to improve communication within our community would to be provide a board agenda at least 1 week before the board meeting, and on that agenda really have them include a short narrative of what might be discussed at that night's meeting. I'd like to see the minutes to be provided to the homeowners within 1 week of the board meeting, and I really would like to see us providing reasons for any kind of changes we're making to rules or regulations. We should be providing this to our homeowners in a timely fashion. And you continue to use online surveys, but provide those results in a timely manner. The last thing I want to look for is advocacy. So I want to provide positive interactions with homeowners to improve the image of the board and the HOA. Some things I see right now, opportunities within our community. One of our biggest assets I see is our group of really highly energetic and eager community members. We need to really tap into their ideas, their interests, and their energy to help achieve common goals. We need to empower them through giving them opportunities to be heard and their voice and opinion shared. One of the questions that came up is, how do you resolve conflict, either with a board member or with a homeowner? And that can be a really difficult thing. It's something I've had experience with just because of being, again, an educator and having a lot of different ideas. The hardest thing to do, but what's really important, is care to confront. And so being respectful and giving each person an opportunity to share their ideas and thoughts without judgment, and having a effective, lively debate is really important. Showing respect through active listening techniques, which includes paraphrasing. And if for some reason you can't resolve it, getting a mediator if you need. One of the final questions that was asked of the candidates are, how much time would you be able to dedicate and commit to the board? And as I mentioned previously, with my membership on my activity as a treasurer on my SEA board, we did meet twice a month, and I spent anywhere from 5 to 10 hours a month on board related activities. Right now I do have some time. I have a part-time position as an adjunct professor at Elmhurst University, but other than that, I'm here to serve the community in the best way that I can. Thank you so much for your time today, and if anyone has any questions or concerns, please reach out.
Hi folks, my name is Bill Brogan and I live at 999 Crestview Lane with my awesome wife Karen. We've been here almost 2 years now. My background is mostly in manufacturing and construction, but I've always been a volunteer, starting when I was young with the West Dundee Fire Department, the National Ski Patrol, Samaritan's Purse, the Christian Appalachian Projects, and most importantly, this community. I've managed the buildings and grounds for my church for almost 10 years, and even helped out with the expansion projects. My role as a board member would be to listen to residents and propose things for the greater good and be responsible in monetary decisions. Service, I had the honor to serve 6 years at my last community as a board member, 4 of those as president, and was on the builder to transition team. I'm thankful to be living here at Carillon, and would like to continue volunteering wherever I can, especially on this board, because I love this place. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Greg Burchell. I live on Southern Circle with my wife Sharon, and I'm interested in running for the board. My past experience is that I lived in a condo association for a while and was active in the community. Was not on the board. I also lived with Sharon in a housing community that had 2 associations. She was on the board. We were active in that community also. My background is as a supply chain executive. I also worked for a whole bunch of consulting firms developing strategies for businesses on supply chain procurement, etc. I'm a procurement expert, quote unquote, and I have also taught a lot of negotiating seminars on how to negotiate things. I've negotiated billion-dollar contracts. I feel the role of a board member is basically to understand the wishes of the community and to be able to keep a strong and beautiful environment that we have here in Caroline. I like the facility. We've been here only about 6 months, but I live here. I understand that as a board member, I have the responsibility to uphold the rules, but I also want a community that we can be proud of and that, you know, it's for the common good. So that's what I feel I should be doing as a board member. I've not been on a board, but I've also volunteered for a lot of project work with the board and with the communities I've been in. My interest in running for the board, there's openings and I feel I could help. In this role, as I said, I've negotiated a lot of contracts. I could help in procurement. I feel like I know a lot. I'm beginning to know a lot of people here. I could express the wishes of the members at the board meetings. And I'm a very common sense guy. If elected, what do I feel should be addressed? I don't have a personal objective that I think we should change or anything. I think the objective, again, is to keep the board and the community in sync with each other. And we've got a wonderful place here. We've got to keep it nice. We've got to keep it and maintain it. It should be an easy place for residents to live, have a good social and active community. So that's my goal. And again, I want to express the wishes of the members of the community to the board and to make sure that we're all, you know, in sync with it. I know not 100% of the people will be happy all the time, but the majority of the people should have a view and a vote. I think there's a lot of opportunity for improvements just to make it easier for the community to communicate with the board. I think communication could be improved. I don't think a lot of people show up to board meetings. Not sure why that is, but I know I tried to attend board meetings quite often when I was in the associations I was in. There could also be, you know, a better communication tree, shall we say, where people could reach me through emails or my telephone, where questions and things can be answered. As far as handling conflict on the board or with the community, I feel people should be able to agree to disagree. That's one of the things I've often learned in negotiations and as an executive. The majority should basically have their viewpoint expressed, and that's the way the community will go. And I know not everybody may agree with it all the time, but you have to be able to agree and to disagree and keep it civil. Polarization and a lack of discussion paralyzes our society today. I think communication, discussion, and understanding other people's points of view help minimize that. And hopefully I can contribute to that as a board member. How much time can I commit to the board? I'm not exactly sure how much it'll take. I know it'll take a significant amount of time, but I've got the time. I'm retired. I live in the community. I'm local, so I mean, it's one of those things where I could spend as much time as necessary to do what I need to do for the community and to support the board. I hope I get your vote. I hope everybody votes. I'd like to see a large participation in the voting process and in the election of the board. Personally, I like to travel. I love sports. I love supporting our sports teams. I plan to be even more active around here. I've used the weight room and things like that, but my wife and I hope to start pickleball. We've had a few medical issues that prevented her and I from participating at the same time. And we also were involved in the local bridge group and a few other things. So we like playing poker. So we're going to be involved in a lot of the community activities. So I'll be meeting people at those activities, and hopefully we'll as I said, I'll be able to express the views of the community at the board meeting. So hopefully I get your vote and look forward to talking with all of you soon. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dan Davis. I'd like to be on the Carillon board, and the way I'm going to get there is to have you vote for me. So hopefully this will give you some of the information that you are going to want to use in order to get down to who you're going to vote for. I came to Carillon, 3 years ago, with my wife Jill, and we downsized from a home in the Dundee area in Sleepy Hollow. I have lived in my professional career in all of the major Big Ten states. I'm originally from Ohio. I lived in Indiana, Michigan, and spent a considerable amount of time in Iowa before I was transferred here. I didn't change companies a great deal, but I did have the opportunity to take on promotions and be moved from place to place. I think that this is a wonderful community. Not that it doesn't have opportunities, it certainly does. But I believe that the board to date has learned how to resolve those issues favorably, at least for the majority. Part of our challenge has been communication. The board spends a great deal of time working on issues, but they kind of have done it quietly rather than inclusively. We saw a new inclusive style in the last year. One of the results, as an example, is the changes that have been made for the gates. We, the community, got an opportunity to speak and suggest what we'd like to see, and we have it. Hopefully that'll be an end to the concerns. And we can take that methodology and apply it to all the other things that may come forth. It's a good method. We also have a tremendous amount of communication that comes at us from the clubhouse, if you will, for scheduling this and this event and so forth, in so many different ways from so many different people that you may become tired of getting an email, for example, or whatever. I'd like to see us go to less communication in email and more from call it a portal. Take the portal that we currently have and encompass all of our communication there. And then a weekly email that keeps us on this schedule and know what the target is for our community. I don't want to see tremendous changes. I want to see the changes that you want to see, that the community is interested in. I want to be the person that you can pick up the phone and call, or you can text and have a discussion with. I'll meet someone up here at the clubhouse. They can come on over and we'll sit out at the house and chat, or I'll come to your house if that's what's most convenient. I want to know what the concerns of the community are. That's kind of that. I mean, that's it in a nutshell. That's what I'd like to see. So, if you think this has merit, vote for me, and I'd appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Susan Landis, and the first thing I want to do in speaking with you is to thank you for the trust that you placed in me in allowing me to be a board member for this past 4 years. That's very important. We have to trust the people on our board, and you gave that to me, and I deeply appreciate it. I have always taken it very seriously, and taken my duty, my fiduciary duties to this association very seriously. You have a great slate of candidates this year, one that would be the envy of many a homeowners association. But that's not surprising because we have an experience-rich community here. These are people who bring all kinds of professional and life experience to the job, and I was very impressed with it. And I would look forward, if you choose to reelect me, to working with all those people. If not, if you choose not to reelect me, I certainly would look forward to supporting those people on the board. I just want to talk a little bit about the wonderful things that I've been able to participate in since you elected me to this position. The first beginning, at the very beginning, was a very exciting time, but a kind of a frustrating and scary time. September 24th, 2018, when we took over from Horton. One of the first things the board had the good common sense to do was to commission a transition study. And through that transition study, they were looking at all of the issues that might have complicated the association's business going forward that were left behind by D.R. Horton. That was very worthwhile and really forms the basis of our case, our complaint that's been filed against Horton. Very fortunate that we had board members who got together and found an excellent attorney, one who, in fact, would take our case on a contingency basis. Without having a contingency lawyer, we could not have pursued this case because we didn't have the money to do it. So simply put, finding an experienced lawyer, a lawyer who had actually taken Horton on before and won, who would take it on a contingency, was critical. And I really thank the board members, Joe Stevens and the rest of us, who realized that we needed to have the contingency in order to go forward. We've also found a great attorney here in Illinois. McMahon is his name, and he has a great reputation in Kane County where the case will be heard. And so he's very, very useful to us in that regard too. So wonderful jobs of finding attorneys. And that was a team effort, of course. I'm really proud of the Civic Connection Committee because it helped us to establish contact with the village and to remind the village that we are residents of Pingree Grove and we certainly have a voice in what goes on here in Pingree Grove. I'm very grateful to the people who volunteered for that committee, and that committee was instrumental in helping us hold Horton's feet to the fire for 2.5 years, which all of this community did. They came together and they said, look, these are the things that are upsetting to us. These are the things the village should not want going forward. And that was very important to make our political imprint in the community. You did that. I was very proud of everybody who stood up for that. Did we win everything? No. But, one of life's lessons is you can't win them all. But what you can do is have some impact for the greater good. And I believe that's what we did do and will continue to do going forward with our village connections. We came up with a plan to deal with our road repairs and replacement. I think that was absolutely critical because one of the things that we have here is ownership of 6 miles of road. I don't think any of the rest of my friends own 6 miles of road. I do. I don't know that they envy me for that, and we certainly shouldn't be envied for that, because what it represents is millions of dollars of work to maintain and to repave the streets as needed. But we came up with a plan that stretched out over 5 years. And what it allows us to do is to try to take bite-sized pieces of this very large job and continue to do it in a way that should help prolong the life of our roads. And that's a good thing. Reserve for replacement, if there was one critical factor that we saw right away, it was the amount of money that Horton left us as reserve funds. Now, the need for reserve for replacement is critical because, like you or any other homeowner, you know that you have to budget for your roof sometime in the future. You know that you have to budget to get your house painted. You have to budget to redo your driveway. And so that's the purpose of the Reserve for Replacement Fund, which is always very important in property management and in taking care of a homeowners association. Our need was greater than most because, again, I go back to the fact that we own 6 miles of road, we own miles of walkways, we own ponds, we own clubhouse, all of those things. And we have a very serious contract with the owners of attached homes. I happen to be one of those. I live in a duplex on Autumn Circle. The contract that was made with me when I came into the homeowners association was that in future, if my roof went, the association would repair or replace it. If my house needed painting, they would do that. If something on the exterior was a problem, the association would handle that. That was a serious contract. So for all of those reasons, we need to have a very healthy Reserve for Replacement Fund, which I'm happy to say we took seriously right from the very beginning and have built on that as we've gone along. Certainly our treasurer, Jim Poupolis, was very instrumental in helping us to get bonds and to continue to build those bonds and to try to get the best interest that we could, given the fact that interest has not been very good. But we did that, and we now have a Reserve for Replacement Fund that, while it will not cover all our needs, it is geared to and slated toward meeting the needs of the community as we go forward. To that end, we also put together an investment policy. And we've just recently contracted with a group that will manage our bonds and our Reserve for Replacement Fund, and they'll do it within the very conservative kinds of boundaries that homeowners associations are confined to when they're doing investments. In other words, we can't take a wild fling on, gas and oil prices or software startups or things like that. We have to stay within investments that are FDIC insured, and we have to make sure that they are very secure. The reason, of course, is that if any of us have been watching our stock investments go up and down, we realize that it's better to be on the conservative side, especially as we get older, and as an association, we're mandated to do that. So makes sense for you. We're not out there just kind of being crazy. So we have a great investment plan. We also have, one of the things that I kept hearing as I've been working with the board in various capacities is that you wanted it to be transparent. You wanted to see what's going on. You want to know what the board is doing. And that's wonderful. You're absolutely right. You should know what's going on. And everything should be right out there for the owners. And certainly the portal helps to do that for you. If you haven't accessed the resident portal, do so. Everything is on there. Everything that you need to know, including the financial statements and those kinds of things. So I've also tried to have additional meetings. We held a meeting that focused on our road plan, our 5-year road repair and replacement plan. I've had a meeting with the Area Agency on Aging to come in and talk about various benefits or things that exist for seniors in Kane County. I like to share. I am always open to questions, and I always feel that people need to be heard. Nobody wants the feeling that they don't have a voice, especially when they have ownership in something, which you clearly do, especially when your concerns are tied so tightly to the board of directors' decisions, behavior, investments, and all the rest of it. We all want for this community to flourish, to not only be viable, but to be vibrant, and to continue to be the place that we enjoy and we're proud of. And for me, that I leave to my grandchildren. I want my home to continue to have value. I want to know that I can continue to enjoy the amenities that are offered here. Our clubhouse is wonderful. I came here as a grieving widow, moved up here from Georgia at the insistence of my bossy pants daughter, who, I hate to admit it, but she was right. I needed people. I needed a community around me. I needed to have opportunities to interact with people. And that's what Carillon has given me. It's not only given me neighbors, it gave me friends. And I have been so impressed with the kindness and the consideration of the people here at Carillon. Even during the last year when things could be difficult, or during the pandemic when things were difficult, I found that people were kind and respectful. For me, all relationships begin and end with respect. If we don't have respect for each other, we can't do anything. We have got to be a group. We've got to be together. Like your board of directors. No one thing, no one person is in charge. We work as a group like the fingers on our hand. You can't do much with, I was going to say your middle finger, but never mind. In any event, it's very important that everybody work together. I've been nervous because, I thought people were very upset with the gates. Some were upset without the gates. Here's one of my mantras in life. You can't make everybody happy. But another mantra of mine is change is inevitable. I have lived long enough to see so many changes. I used to be amazed at how many changes my grandmother had gone through, because she was born in the late 1800s, and she, came to fly on a plane, and she had telephone and radio and TV and all those things. Now I feel like she must have felt at times, like I've completely lost the grip on the things that I so fondly remember. But I'm also pleased to say that we've made tremendous medical advances, and for as much as I struggle with technology, I know that there are real benefits to it. This video being one of them. But change is inevitable. And going forward with this community, change is going to continue to be inevitable. And the more we are alert to it and sensitive to it and involved in it, the better our community will thrive. So that's my pitch. I want to thank you again. This has been a wonderful experience for me. I had over 40 years experience in property management, facility management, involvement with various city and federal governments. And when I lost that, it left a hole in my life. I left my last job to take care of my husband. And he was very ill, and he lived 2.5 years after that. Those are years that I would never have sacrificed. They were very important times, even though it's awfully hard to watch someone you love decline. I started a caregivers group for that very purpose, and it helps me as well. But doing this for the community and being involved and being able to use some of the skills that I had acquired over the years through property management and so forth have been a wonderful gift to me. And no matter what happens in this election, I certainly want to thank you all again for giving me that opportunity. It has been very interesting and keeps you busy and gives me something to really challenge my ideas, my perceptions, and my problem-solving abilities. I also just want to say that I have worked with an incredible team of people, 3 of whom we're losing from the board this year. I can't say enough about how wonderful they were. And tip my hat to Joe Stevens as well. He took it on at the very beginning when we really didn't know what was going on. So I think that's about it. I think we're on top of things. We filed our lawsuit. Now the waiting begins. We haven't heard any kind of response from Horton, nor did we expect to. You know, the hope for all of us is that through this effort, we are going to come to a fair and equitable agreement with Horton. I don't always put those 2 words in the same sentence with Horton. Just kidding, of course. But that is the hope. The hope is that we can get a settlement that is going to take the pressure off of all of us with regard to our reserve for replacement funding. If we can do that, there are so many wonderful things yet to be done here and so many improvements to be made. And this can just continue to be an even more wonderful community going forward. Thank you all. You're a delightful group of people to work with, and thanks for giving me your trust. I appreciate it.
Hi, my name is Kathy Malone. My husband Paul and I moved here 10 years ago. This was our first experience in living in a community association. And like a lot of things in life, there were some things we loved and there were some things we just weren't that crazy about. But overall, we love our life here in Caroline. This is my first attempt at running for a board position. But I have participated in many events here, including chairing the events committee under the D.R. Horton board, and I was elected to the residential advisory committee. Before moving to Caroline, I worked at an employee leasing company for 26 years. During that time, I was the office manager, executive assistant to the president and 2 vice presidents, and the IT project manager. The company dealt with all aspects of human resource, from hiring and termination to unemployment issues and lawsuits. I believe this experience has given me a well-rounded understanding of business. One of the questions we were asked to answer is if we had any personal objectives. My answer would be no, primarily because I do not have access to all of the underlying reasons why the board made some of the decisions they've made. Based on my business experience, I am hopeful that I may bring a new perspective to some of the decisions that have been made in the past. I believe some of the rules that were handed down by Horton were put in place to meet their Horton sales objectives. And I think some of those rules should be reviewed and updated so that they now reflect our community and our needs and desires. In truth, I believe our resident board members are doing a good job with an impossible task of keeping everyone happy. If elected, I hope to bring a new perspective and energy to improving our community and expanding communication between the board and the residents. Thank you for your time.
Sharon Muehlfeld regrets that she was unable to create a video, and she will also not be present at the Meet the Candidates event due to a prior and important engagement. When asked, what is your present and past experience with living in a community association, Sharon responded with the following. I lived in a small subdivision with an HOA before moving to Carillon. My experience with an HOA has been favorable since it promotes uniformity and maintains community aesthetics. When asked, please describe your background and work experience, Sharon responded with the following. I have 5 daughters and worked full-time while raising them. I was employed for 33 years with the Illinois Department of Human Services. The last several years of my career, I managed an office of 50 union employees. I was well-versed in the contract language and routinely heard and resolved grievances. I have a BA in social work and psychology. When asked, describe what you feel the role of a board member is, Sharon responded with the following. The role of a board member is to make decisions for the betterment of the community by listening to residents, being fiscally responsible, participating in problem solving, and providing input. When asked, have you ever served on or with a board? If so, please describe this experience, including type and size of organization, number of years served, and positions held. Sharon responded with the following. I have served for many years as the secretary of a small subdivision HOA in Palatine, Illinois. When asked what has interested you in running for a position on the board of directors, Sharon responded with the following. I would like to get more involved in decisions made regarding the community. I have lived here for 6 years. My common sense approach to problem solving would enhance the board. If elected, what do you feel your unique contribution would be? Sharon responded with the following. Some of my attributes include common sense, excellent communication and listening skills, fiscal responsibility, problem solving, attention to detail, committed to finishing tasks, excellent customer service, resolving disputes, and creating and implementing action plans. If elected, what issue do you feel should be addressed first? Do you have any personal objectives or goals as a board member? Sharon responded with the following. By attending the meetings, issues important to residents include gates, repair of walking paths, clubhouse expansion, roadways, and increasing the reserve fund. As a board member, I would work for the residents rather than having personal goals or objectives. What do you feel are areas of improvement for the community? Alternatively, what do you feel is going well? Sharon responded with the following. Opportunity for improvement is in the area of communication between residents and the board and office. Architectural, finance, landscape committees, and contracted services are going well. How would you handle a conflict with a board member? How would you handle a conflict with a homeowner? Sharon responded with, in all circumstances, remain calm. Be a good listener to understand the other person's point of view and arrive at a resolution to benefit the community. How much time can you commit to the board? Please describe your availability. I am retired, so I could devote the necessary time to fulfill the assignments. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Patrick O'Neill, and I'm running for the board at Carillon. I live here with my wife, Maria, of 37 years. We have 3 daughters and 1 beautiful granddaughter, and she's probably the main reason why we are here at Carillon. I recently retired after 40 years working in the accounting and finance departments industry, and obtained my CPA license. My first year out of school, I spent my first 6 years working at public accounting firms. And my last 34 years, I spent working for a large foundation contractor with about $150 million in annual sales. And my last 25 years with them, I served as the company's chief financial officer. More recently, I am a member of the HOA's finance committee, and I'm a non-board member, obviously, and I've really enjoyed serving on that committee and would like to continue to do so moving forward. So why am I running for the board? I think the main reason I decided to run is because the current treasurer of the HOA has decided not to run. His term is up this year. I believe he served 4 years, and he's decided to step down. So I saw that there was a need for someone with my qualifications, maybe to run the finance committee as the treasurer, and that was probably the main reason I decided to run. I would ensure that the assets and funds of the HOA were safeguarded and obviously invested on a safe and risk-free, low-risk basis. When I look at a board, an HOA board, I think the members have three main responsibilities, and then these are really in no particular order. But number one is to prepare an annual budget and to manage all of the financial matters of the community. The budget is important. The budget is basically broken down into operating budget, which are your day-to-day expenses, month-to-month expenses, and the reserves. The reserves are there to give you the opportunity or the ability to pay large sort of one-offs, and we have a few of those here that we're going to have to be dealing with next year and in the years to come. The budgets of those two areas give us the basis of setting the assessments to the residents, and that's obviously quite important to everybody. Now, the second thing is I think a board member has to ensure the community adherence to the governing rules and regulations. I don't believe you need a rule for everything. I think common sense has to come into play. And I would hope that if elected to the board, I would bring that level of common sense to when dealing, with rules and regulations. I think that's important. And finally, properly maintain the common areas of the community, our physical assets, the clubhouse, the roads, the walking paths, the sidewalks, the landscaping. I think we have over 4,000 trees in Carillon. We have to preserve these assets and also make plans for the future as well. So these are what I see as the three primary responsibilities of a board member. What improvements do I think can be made? I think number one, we could expand the committees that we have. I think we're a large enough community. We're almost 1,000 residents and I believe 1,600 people. And I think we need more committees than we have now. I think the committees would encourage community participation in really deciding what we need at the as an HOA. I don't think you can leave everything up to the board. I don't think that's the purpose of the board, is to make all these decisions on their own. I think community involvement is definitely something that we need, and I think we can do better at going forward. The more community involvement we get, I think the better community will be. Finally, communication, I think, is the key with the board. And this is a two-way street. I think the board needs to have a line of communication with the residents, let them know why they're making decisions that they are, and what the thought process behind it is. The community needs to make sure the board is aware of how they feel about an issue, and I think with an HOA, it has to come down to majority rules. I don't think there's any other option there. And I think we all saw with the recent surveys that went out that we're not always going to have 100% vast majority of opinion of the way people feel on a certain issue with the gates and the pool hours. It's the board's job to make sure that the community does have a voice in these issues and listen to the community, and then enforce whatever the community majority feels is necessary. So I think that's important. I think we can improve on our communication from the board level to the residents. I think there should be more communication there as to what's happening at the board meetings, and opening them up and making sure that we continue to do Zoom capabilities with our meetings so that everybody has the opportunity to see what's going on. I mean, the board is Carillon, and it's a great way to see how the community is running. So that's about all I have for now. If there's any questions or you'd like to contact me, feel free to drop me an email. My email address is oneillpk@comcast.net. Thanks for your time, and hopefully thanks for your support.